In this video, you're going to learn the root issues that are leading you to go and act out, the real root issue. I think there's a lot of misconceptions around this. A lot of men, they think they understand why they want to go and act out because they see a lot of pains and problems in their life that they're trying to escape. And if they've gone to therapy, they probably know what that looks like. If they just ask themselves some questions, they probably know what that looks like. But what if I told you that's not the root issue? Because if it was, why don't you just solve that one particular pain? It's not the real root issue. Because if it was, all you had to do is just tackle that one pain or one specific problem. But here's the thing. You've probably had separation in your life where you went weeks or months or even years clean, then fell back into it. You've probably, at one point in your life had one vice, maybe cocaine, gambling, drinking, alcohol, smoking, and that one vice went to a different vice. And that could have been sex or any of the other things I just mentioned. So if it was as simple as understanding the current pains in your life and dealing with it, it would be so simple to break free, but it's not. So I'm going to show you the real reasons why you keep falling back, why you keep, relapsing after creating separation, or why, you keep falling into these different forms of escapism and it just is non-stop. Let's dive into it. Now, I'll be real with you guys and get straight to the point. The real root issue that's leading you to go and act out and stay stuck in all of this or have a bunch of other vices in your life is the fear of pain. That is the real problem going on in your life right now. And it's not a particular problem or a particular pain, because the thing is, your reaction to any pain, present or future, is the same. You want to run from it. You want to escape it. You do not want to deal with it. Now, this response around pain, this fear of pain, has been conditioned into your body from probably a very young age. You probably always had coping mechanisms that you would turn to. And just think about it for a moment. As you're developing or a young adult, what vices did you have in your life? For me, it was smoking, it was drinking, and it was pornography. Those three things I used to deal with a lot of problems in my life. If I felt something extremely overwhelming or unbearable, I would turn to porn if I need something accessible. And if I need a bigger hit, it'd probably be to go and smoke or go and drink, right? There's a lot of these things that was going on in my life that I was dealing with pain with. And through that time, it only got worse and worse and worse. Because one, I wasn't dealing with the real root issues, all these pains and problems in my life. And I was conditioning my body that, hey, if in the future you face any pain, don't deal with it. That's kind of uncomfortable. I don't like feeling pain at all. I want pleasure. I want to feel good. So you turn to vices, right? And obviously it got a lot worse. So this is something that's been conditioned into you for a long time. And one of the reasons why you have not been able to break free for the long run, maybe you're kind of going a lot of highs and lows within your recovery, a lot of setbacks. The reason is your body can't comprehend, without these vices, how do I deal with pain? I don't want to stay clean. I can't stay clean. I'm afraid of staying clean because not only do I have to feel that pain, but how else am I going to deal with it? There's no other way around sex, around porn, around lust, around cocaine, around smoking, around drinking, whatever the case is, right? Gambling. So that is the real issue. Because if your game plan has been to fix the pains and problems in your life or go down the self-improvement route, there's going to be new pains or problems that pop up in the future that if you don't change the automatic response to that pain, you're going to go and escape it. Right? So you can't focus on any one particular issue or pain. You have to retrain your response around pain. And that's honestly very tricky. It's not the easiest thing to do because there's a lot of resistance. You have to unwind a lot of years of conditioning around pain. You have to change a lot of beliefs around dealing with pain and start to show yourself and prove to yourself over time that, hey, if I have pain, I don't need to run from it. I don't need to, chase something else to feel good. There's actually other ways to deal with this, right? And I'll kind of show you how to do that. And I've spoken a lot about this on the channel, so I won't go into too much detail, but that's the main premise. So I want you guys to think about it this way, right? If you are going through this problem, if you're watching the video, you probably are, you need to change your response around pain. That's the main thing that you need to do. right? Because that's going to give you the best long-term results. That's the core issue. So let's kind of go into what we need to do. What are the stepping stones? Like, how can I actually start this process? Let's actually dive into what that looks like. So by far the best way to change your response around pain is to develop a skill set. And this is something that a lot of people don't do, right? They rely on things that are temporary. They rely on accountability. They rely on weekly sessions with a therapist or support group. They rely on willpower. Just trying to resist and fight off these temptations and just say, oh, I'm not going to go and do this, so I'm gonna stop, right? All that's temporary. That doesn't focus on the root issue that we just talked about of the fear of pain and wanting to run from it. You need to develop a skill around dealing with that pain. And the beautiful thing is when you do that, you can change your response over time. No matter how long you've been escaping pain or how down bad you think you are, it's possible for you to change your automatic response to go from feeling pain, not wanting to deal with it and just running from it, to sitting with it, saying, oh, we're okay. Yeah, I feel some pain going on right now, but no red sirens are going off in your head. You can deal with it. You can sit with it. And then if need be, you can deal with that in healthy ways. So you can make that switch, but it's going to take some time. It's not going to be as easy as this sounds at all, guys. This is a simple concept, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of resistance around this. And it's really hard to hash all of it out in one video, but I can give you the basics. So let's dive into what that looks like. There's a couple of different ways that you can really develop this skill set, and you can do it in 3 different ways, or 3 different opportunities, I guess. One is when you're feeling an urge, because usually all an urge is a pain or problem that has gone unchecked, that you just haven't dealt with, or a multitude of pains and problems that just been put to the back burner, just ignored, and you just feel like running from them. Usually, right? There's obviously visual triggers, there's natural urges that you get, but if you're going and acting out and doing something self-destructive, it's because you're trying to escape something, right? So having that understanding allows you to go from getting an urge and trying to resist it and fight it off and say, I'm not going to do this, to recognizing there's an opportunity to retrain your brain, right? So that's one thing. That's one opportunity. Another is when you feel pain in general. A lot of people, again, they run from it. They ignore it. They don't want to deal with it. And this is a big thing that you want to really get good at. You want to become aware of when you're dealing with pain in the moment. Because if you don't become aware of a pain, it's going to linger. Like, the thing is, your body over the years of you running from pain, you've been like damaging your nervous system. You've been damaging your body because it feels the pain. If you ignore it, you still feel the pain. It didn't go anywhere. It just didn't disappear. Your body still feels those emotions. Your body still feels like, hey man, this is going on and you're not even dealing with it. And in fact, you're making it worse, right? So, that's been a huge thing that's been going on for a long time with you. So you have to start with acknowledging, kind of like accepting and becoming aware of when you're in pain. Just doing that, for the most part, kind of does a lot of damage control just by doing that. If you got really, really, really good at becoming aware of pain when you're feeling it in the moment, and this is happening way more than you might think, you would do a lot of damage control, and you'd probably deal with the pain a decent amount of time. Like, that's the foundation. You can't actually deal with the pain that's going on in your life without actually being able to become aware of it. And it prevents it from also just like compounding with different pains that are going on that you just also been ignoring. So you want to start with that awareness. And when you actually have that awareness, what you should start to do is just use a little bit of self-talk around the pain. Imagine like you're speaking to your best buddy. Like if he's telling you that he's going through something right now and he's being a little vague, you wouldn't, just like berate him. You wouldn't tell him a solution. You would hear him out a little bit, right? You would just say, okay, man, tell me what's going on, right? You just understand a little bit, and you would do it in a caring way, non-judgmental. A lot of guys, when they're feeling pain, they kind of judge themselves. It's like, I'm stressed, yeah, whatever. What am I, a pussy, right? Like they judge themselves for the stuff that they're going through. But if you're helping out a good friend, you want to do that. So you want to come from the stance of like understanding the pain that you're experiencing, but do it in a way of compassion with yourself and just have a conversation. Understand, talk about it, right? Process it. And naturally, you're going to feel a lot better. And honestly, that could be all you have to do to deal with the pain. Sometimes that's it. Other times, You have that conversation, you process it, and eventually you find a really, really good solution to that. Now, the difference is between trying to do the solution before having that conversation versus after you process it, you actually want to do the solution. Again, your brain has been trained over the years to escape pain because it wants to feel pleasure now. But if you have a conversation of processing pain in the moment and understanding what's going on, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I'm just stressed right now, or I have a little bit of anxiety, but I actually know what I can do to solve this. It's like a big dopamine hit, right? It's actually enjoyable. You want to make changes. You want to take action instead of just trying to grind out a solution. I hope that's kind of making sense. So to recap, around pain, you want to have a general awareness of what's going on and just sit with it. Like, honestly, you just have to be honest with yourself sometimes that you're in pain, and just to sit with it and deal with it. Sometimes you might feel a lot of physical reactions in your body, right? Again, your body knows you're feeling pain, so you might feel real tense. Your shoulders might kind of shrug up. You might feel tension in your pelvic region, in your gut, and that's just usually an indication that there's something going on that you need to address. So it starts with awareness, then you need to understand, have a conversation around these things. Most of the time, good amount of the time, that's enough. And sometimes you can just do a solution that you've found pretty easy after having that conversation. So those are 2 of the 3 things that you need to do, right? When you feel an urge, you want to go through that same process that I just mentioned. When you feel pain, you want to do the same thing I just said. And also, there's another opportunity for you to actually make these changes in your life and start to process pain on a different level. And the last thing that you want to build a skill set around is just retroactively being able to deal with pain in your life, right? So if you're becoming more and more aware in the moment of when you're feeling pain, if you're getting urges and temptations to go and escape one way or another, and you're finding out the real reasons that is going on and dealing with it, you're probably going to have a catalog and a bunch of data as to some of the things that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So once you have that data, then it's just about creating solutions in your life around that. You can minimize the amount of times that you have to sit down with yourself and have that conversation to deal with pain if you can pre-solve it. Just if you feel stress, right? Find ways to alleviate that stress that's sustainable. That's something that you actually want to do, right? And that goes with any other pains. Now, the thing is, what you're doing when you do these 3 things is you're actually building a skill set. It's not like you're just doing this once and getting over with it. You're actually finding ways for the future, for novel pains you're going to experience. Now, when you do these 3 things, you actually can make a lot of progress pretty quickly. You slowly start to show your body, hey, pain's not that big of a deal. I don't need to run from it. I don't need to try to go and escape. I can sit with this. It's not a big deal, right? And slowly you start to prove that to yourself and to your body. And you start to live a better life because you're solving a lot of the problems. And you actually have the skills that it takes that if you feel a novel pain in your life or a huge, dramatic thing happens in your life that might be unexpected, you actually can have some confidence within yourself that you know how to deal with it. You're building that emotional maturity. You no longer fear pain. You embrace it. You can sit with it. It's actually something that you kind of like in a way because it teaches you lessons. It makes you better when you actually experience that adversity. So that is what I would have you focus on for right now. I want to be completely honest. This is a very difficult thing to do on your own. You've been going against this for some time. Your own body is conditioned to escape this. You're not going to want to do some of the things that I've laid out, even the simplest of things, because you still fear that pain. There's a lot of internal stuff that you need to process, that you need someone to help you with, just to have that third-person perspective. And if you're looking for a skill set, if you're tired of relying on willpower, accountability, just support on a week-to-week basis, and you want to learn a skill set around the most important things that you can focus on in a very actionable way, I encourage you to go down below and book a consultation with myself. We'll go over your situation and I'll show you how I can help you break free from this, give you resources, or even show you how coaching is an option if you are a good fit. But there's also going to be a ton of resources, in the link below after you book a call, a lot of information that you can learn. And at the end of the day, you're going to be in a better spot from making that decision and booking that call than you would have been if you just kept scrolling, kept going about your business, because one thing's for certain, what you've been doing up until this point has not been enough and change must be made. So with that said, guys, get some help, do something about this. I hope this was an informative video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.